Question: can you give me some information that is so outlandish that there is no way in the universe I could make it up myself? Some type of awakening statement that can even change my life? Answer: you might be expecting too much from these communications. I have already told you several times I am not a god or a super being for that matter, but if what you are looking for is food for thought, I will give you this. Life is a role-playing game. Figure it out. Question: a role-playing game? You mean, like a video game? Answer: a role-playing game can be played in many different modes. The modes you know at present are the paper and dice ones, where people play around a table, and of course, the many different ways that role-playing games can be played through the use of computers, especially through what you call massive multiplayer online role-playing games. Whichever way you may want to look at it, that's what this current plane of existence where you, me, and everyone else in this dimension live, is about. We are in a role-playing game. Question: that actually might be as outlandish as I was going for. Can you please explain to me what you are talking about? Answer: I mentioned the concept of fun before, remember? Well, life in this part of the universe is a game. It's a game that is being played in several different modes and at several different levels, but the main scenario for the majority of us is taking place on planet Earth. You could call the current game as Evolution, and the actual campaign as Ascension 2012 if you were playful enough to entertain this type of ideas. Question: I am not even sure where this is going, but since it was me asking for the information, I guess I should go along with this. So, our whole existence, lives, what's going on with the government, poverty, murders, aliens, etc., this is all a game. Answer: yes, it is. Is it really that hard to conceive of such a notion? Your main problem is that you are thinking of yourself as your body, and that's where the mistake is. Your vehicle is not you. Your vehicle is the character you decided to play for this game, which you call and understand as reincarnation, is merely you choosing different characters to play different campaigns in the many different stages of the evolution game. Question: you mean, is life just a The Matrix movie situation, where we are all plugged into machines having a virtual reality computerized experience? Answer: no, that's not how it is. If you want to have the simplest analogies available so you can understand what this is all about, imagine yourself, who you currently are in your daily life, playing a regular role-playing game. You, in real life, are a common worker, doing your common work day to day, eating, going to the bathroom, socializing here and there, and then going to sleep to do exactly the same thing the next day. That is your normal life. But, when you play your role-playing game, you can be a knight or wizard fighting dragons in a fantasy world, or a vampire hunting for blood through the night, or a cyborg with implants trying to stay alive in a dystopian cyberpunk future. While you are playing that role-playing game, you are that character, you play as the character, and you experience whatever that character experiences. But, the moment the game is over for the session, you go back to be your regular worker who goes to the office each day. Now, imagine that your soul is the regular worker here, and who you are in your body is the actual fictitious character. You are your soul. The role-playing game character is what you see each day in the mirror. You are in a role-playing game, playing as the regular day office worker who goes to work each day. That would be your role in the game, and everyone else you see in this planet, or actually, most of them, but not all of them, are also other souls playing as characters. The souls are the real you. The bodies you see around are just game characters. Can you understand all of that? Question: I am following the general idea, even though this does sound too much like science fiction and not like an actual channeling session. Answer: as I mentioned once before, you make what you want of it. It is all fun, and like I mentioned before, fun is a vital part of the whole process of life. And just think of it, as a regular office worker, your life experiences are very limited. The type of emotions you can feel are restricted to whatever happens in your daily life as an office worker. But as a dragon-slaying wizard, a bloodthirsty vampire or a cyberpunk rogue assassin, the types of experiences you can have for yourself are completely different. That's what life is. Your soul is you, and you incarnate in different bodies in order to experience different situations and learn from different realities each time. And of course, the level of fun you have as each character, or the amount of learning you can accomplish with your character, is totally up to how you play this character. You can be a good player, or a bad player, You can be a beginner, or a game master, but at least you would know you are in a role-playing game. One of the main problems with the current world is that almost no one even realizes they are playing a game. They don't realize they are only characters in a game, and therefore, lose all track of reality and become prisoners of the game. It's like you, as the office worker, would never realize you are not the dragon slayer, the vampire or the cyberpunk, and because of that, you would not be able to get all that you can get from the game. Question: I must say I am not understanding everything, even though I do realize I am the one doing the typing. This sounds so outlandish, that I don't even know if anyone will lend any credibility to any of this. But then again, channeling spirits or whatever is not the most scientific thing to do in the world. Answer: you asked for something outlandish, but you would marvel as to how not outlandish all of this is, if you only thought about it a little bit. If you are a character in a role-playing game, and you do realize that that is all that you are, you could use your experience from previous games and even your experiences in your normal life as advantages to the character you are playing. For example, imagine the game where you are a dragon slayer wizard, where you learn that using something called mana you can increase your magic power and do more damage to enemies and other powerful stuff. That would part of the knowledge of that character. Not think of you playing another game as the cyberpunk assassin, who is not a magic user, but that in this game comes across a series of spheres with the word mana in them. Normally, if you were just playing the cyberpunk game, you would not even know what mana is or what it can be used for, but because you have also played games as a wizard, you do know that mana can be used to increase or even gain magical attributes. That way, in your cyberpunk game, you can take the mana spheres and become a magical cyberpunk assassin, and all because you had the previous knowledge from your playing as another character in another game. If you had only played the cyberpunk game and nothing else, you might have ignored the mana spheres and just keep going with your life, without the added benefits and attributes that becoming a magic user could have given you. Examples like this can be given by the thousands, but it all boils down to explaining reincarnation as your soul playing different characters in different games and learning experiences from each of them. Of course, that only or mostly happens when you do realize that everything is a role-playing game. Otherwise, you just believe you are the character you are playing, and you spend the rest of the game as the character, and not as a player playing the character. Question: I understand the analogy of reincarnation to a role-playing game. But, if it was about analogies, I think reincarnation could be linked to a number of other things. Why should everything have to be a role-playing game? Couldn't it be actually something totally different? Answer: you asked for something outlandish, and that is what I gave to you. We haven't even touched the subject of character creation, the types of attributes you choose for your characters, the experience points you get after each game, and how you can cache those points for other attributes, and how souls organize themselves in groups to play games as teams and share experience points, and how there are clans of souls competing against each other for different types of prizes. The whole thing can be really fun if you just open your mind to it. Question: this definitely was outlandish and I am not even sure much what to make of it. I am familiar with role-playing games myself, and I guess that is where all this information came from, but I never had made this type of link before. This might actually be too much for me for this day, so I'll be the one cutting the communication here. Answer: this is a fun topic for me, and one I am always excited to talk about. So feel free to continue with this conversation at any other point. Stop taking everything so seriously, have fun, and always be wise on your own truth.